It's okay to tell each other good morning and it's good to see you. I'm going to teach from the floor today. Is that okay? So those of you who chose to sit down here, Michael, are in for a treat. No, I'm just kidding. Today is, I'm going to share a little bit. Today we're going to talk about the things that nobody wants to talk about. I think that's my title. My title was The Gaps in Between, but I changed it now. It's the things, we're going to talk about the things that nobody else wants to talk about. We're going to address some issues and some things, and we're going to go a little deep today. Is that okay? Can we go deep today? Is that okay? Everybody's excited about going deep, but what if I say, can we go deep within us? That's the scary part, because it gets messy and it can get ugly. I know if I go deep inside me, it gets ugly. It gets real ugly. And it gets scary. But here's the thing. We can't heal, we cannot begin to heal until we address what's really wrong. And we are a culture or a generation of denial. And this is not something we've been taught. This is something that we have, by lack of discipline and self-discipline, this is something that we have grown into. This is what we have become. A system or culture or group or church of denial. Because here's the truth. No one wants to really address what's really wrong inside. And so we're going to try to peel some layers today and talk about some things. You don't have to say anything out loud, but I'm going to encourage you, if you don't have a piece of paper or something, find something to write on or get some notes out on your phone, and I'm going to encourage you to write some stuff down today. I started this journey, for those of you who don't know, I got divorced. I was in a marriage for 13 years, and I found myself divorced at the age of 35, and that was the most tragic thing I've ever dealt with in my life. The most tragic thing that I had dealt with was losing Chris. I lost one of my best friends. And I hurt in a way that I had never hurt before. I had lost relatives, grandparents, and I hurt. But when we lost Chris, that hurt took a whole new level, of hurt. And I don't know that I really ever recovered from that, because I don't know that I ever actually grieved it properly. And I think that may be the case for a lot of us. I don't think we actually grieved some things properly. See, we've been taught we've allowed ourselves to grow into this idea that we can't grieve or we can't express what's really inside. And here's my, I've got some notes. I wrote some notes, and you know how I am with my notes. I'm terrible with notes, but I have some important things in here, and I'm going to do my best to stick to my notes today, because if I don't, this is liable to get way off track and really ugly, because this could go in a lot of directions. So I'm actually going to read out of Psalm 32 today. So if you have a Bible or a phone or a device of some sort, iPad, whatever it is that you use, and you can access the Bible, we're going to be reading out of Psalms 32. But Psalms is not where I got where I'm going today. Does that make sense? So this is going to be a little bit more, I want to change how I do things. I want to change how we do some things. And I'm going to I'm going to ask some questions you don't have to answer. It's okay. But if you've got something, it's okay to have some input. And you'll know when I'm asking for it. And then I may not ask, I may change my mind. But anyway, we're going to be out of Psalm 32. And I'm going to read this real quick. And if you've got a Bible or something, read with me. Because this is big right here. This is big. And we're gonna address it. We're going to cover it. What God spoke to me as I was reading through this, because this changed me a little bit, and I fought with it a little bit because I felt like I was trying to make it something that it wasn't. And then after further discussion with Howard and Seth, we discovered that this was what I needed to talk about. So, Psalm 32 says, "Oh, hang on, let me make sure this is okay." Yeah, it says, "Oh, what a joy for those whose disobedience is forgiven, whose sin is put out of sight. Yes, what joy for those whose record the Lord has cleared of guilt, whose lives are lived in complete honesty." If you've got something, highlight that complete honesty part real quick, or somehow make a mark to that complete honesty. And I'm going to read that part again. "Yes, what joy for those whose record the Lord has cleared of guilt, whose lives are lived in complete honesty." Golly, I got to keep going. I can't. "When I refused to confess my sin, my body wasted away, and I groaned all day." And there's another translation that I read last night, and it said, "My bones grew weary." Some of yours may say something like that. "My bones grew weary. When I kept silent, my bones grew weary." When I didn't address what was really going on, what was really inside, my bones grew weary. Do you ever feel oppressed and like just something's holding you down and you just can't break away? What's inside? See, we're really good at distracting ourselves from addressing what's really inside, what's really going on. I started this journey, it was almost exactly a year ago. It's so weird because I was talking to a friend and we were talking about Lamentations, and I went through this journey through Lamentations, and some of you may not even know what I'm talking about. It's actually in the Bible. It's almost in the middle. It's a group of poems. It's very similar to Psalms, but it's kind of dark. And it's kind of confusing, and it seems very, very, it's grieving. The writers are grieving, and I don't want to get into that yet because I got to stay on track because this is big. What we're going to uncover today is huge, and if we'll do it and apply it, this is going to set some people free today. And I just can't. Do you want to be set free? I mean, I do. I've got things that I want to be set free from. So I want to share it with you because this is important. All right, I got to keep reading. I got to stay on task. I'm terrible at staying on task. So just so you know, I'm struggling with my own things. "When I refused to confess my sin, my body wasted away, and I groaned all day long. Day and night, your hand of discipline was heavy on me. My strength evaporated like water in the summer heat." You know what? You like, this is like a poetic, this is like an expression. Do you see that? He's expressing how he feels, how he felt. Like, do you ever feel like it's just so heavy? Your energy is just gone, and but you can't figure out why. "Finally, I confessed all my sins to you and stopped trying to hide my guilt. I said to myself, I will confess my rebellion to the Lord. And you forgave me. All my guilt is gone." This is huge. Okay, I want to talk about a few things right here real quick, and I got to stick to my notes because I don't want to get too messed up. Okay, this is the thing. We have, as society or cultures or groups or churches, even marriages or friends, our groups, we have developed a code of what we can and cannot talk about. You know what you can talk about with someone, but you can talk about with someone else. We know what we can express to one person that we can't express to another person. That's called being in denial of who you really are. Oh, and it hurts. But we were designed to be us. You were designed to be you, not me, you. And I can't be you. We don't even think the same. Do you realize that? God created you to think a certain way. God designed you to live your life, not someone else's, and not to the mold of what you think someone else wants you to be. And we all struggle with that. I grew up feeling rejected as a kid, and I didn't realize that until yesterday. I grew up, I can remember going way back and being rejected as a kid way back. And I still struggle with it today. And I realized yesterday that I have some anger issues that I've never actually addressed. I've never considered myself an angry person. But I found out yesterday, through this little exercise I've been doing, I'm going to share with you later on, that I've got some anger issues and I've got some pinned up issues that I've yet to address within me. And you may relate to that, or I may be the only one that has issues pinned up. We know what we can and can't say around certain people. And here's the thing. How many of you ever come across this? And a funeral, and I don't want to talk about funerals too much, but funerals is like the number one place for this, or a place of mourning, or a place of loss or something, and somebody gets choked up and they apologize. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. They're trying to say something to give a eulogy, or they're trying to, and they start getting choked up and I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Why are we apologizing? For expressing what's really inside. We come to church to get something, but we know we can't actually express what's really inside because they're going to judge us. And we're good at judging them. That's our fault. That's our fault. We have people that come in here every week that have something that they need to get off their chest and that they need to address and they need to get out and they need to express somehow. But we say, no, we don't want to get that crazy. We don't want to get that deep. We don't want to address those issues. We don't want to take care of that problem. We don't say it, but we've developed this wall and this code of knowing what we can and can't talk about. See, this is the stuff that no one wants to talk about. These are the things that everybody has, but no one really wants to talk about it. No one really wants to address it. We apologize, or how will you ever get in a conversation and be like, hey, can I say that? I'm really bad about it. I'll say something and I'll be like, uh-oh. Can I say that? Can I say that in church? Can I say that here? And I'm just going to kind of read some of my notes. This is as I write. I started this journey. I started this experiment where I think I've talked about it a few weeks ago, where I'll put everything down and I'll just start writing. I may not have anything at first, but I'll just start writing. And things start flowing, things start happening. My mind starts working, my heart starts kind of emptying out a little bit, so I'll just start writing. And the other day I was listening to some other teaching, and I heard some stuff, and so I started writing. And I just said it's cultures, families, friends, society, marriages, even marriages, and this is the dangerous part, marriages develop a code of communication. What is okay to express and what is not okay to express. You know what you can bring up to your wife and what you can't bring up to your wife. Because you know if you say it, all hell's going to break loose. Right? Are we designed to hold this stuff in? Now, I understand if you're picking a fight is one thing, but there's things that need to be expressed. And if we can't express something to our spouse, especially if it's hurt or something that's going on that's within, that's causing a wedge in the marriage, if we can't express what's really going on, it's going to be a rough road. And it's going to get bad. Way worse before it'll ever get better. If it gets better. What we avoid and what is accepted, or what can be or cannot be brought up. We avoid things. We avoid conversations. We avoid confrontation or whatever. We avoid things. But I feel like we are actually designed to express what's really inside. But here's the thing. We don't address the hurt from the past. And so we hold it in and we bottle it up, and then what happens is it just spews out on someone that they really weren't even there to begin with. They may not have been what caused it, but we didn't properly express it or address it, and then when it does come out, it comes out as an attack onto whoever it is that's in front of us. And then it really gets ugly. So this is the whole point of this message today, is how to express, how to become more in touch with us. And here's some, and I'm just going to kind of read through my notes. And this is huge. This is huge because we all claim, or we all want to grow spiritually. And as you become more spiritually healthy, as we become closer to God, or as we pursue God, or we try to pursue God, or whatever, as we begin to grow spiritually, we become more alive and whole. But in order to do that, we have to become more true to our true self. You can't grow spiritually and not grow closer to who you actually are, who you really are, who you've really been designed to be. We can fake it all day long, but guess what? You're going to have a fake spiritual health. Until you get in touch with who you really are, you can't grow spiritually. And you can't get in touch with who you really are until you start to grow spiritually. It comes together. You can't have one or the other. That's called counterfeit. Here's the scary part. When we become more spiritually healthy and we get in tune with who we really are, you're going to become a threat. Because people don't like the people who aren't afraid to express who they really are. People who are really in touch with who they really are usually the people who we don't allow into the group. Or they're just their own person. But they actually may be better off than us because we're holding stuff in and we don't express, we don't know who we are. So we're actually maybe doing more damage than they are. So let me back up a minute. When I went through my divorce, I guess it was about a year ago, I had just moved back here and I just started working for Dr. Pepper, and I was going through the divorce, and I started reading Lamentations, and I didn't even know what Lamentations was. And I went through this journey of trying to figure it out, and it's a deep, poetic expression of mourning, of loss, and grieving. Have you ever suffered any kind of loss? Last week? We've all dealt with some kind of loss, some kind of hurt, some kind of pain, some kind of jump, some kind of something, offense. We've all dealt with it. And if we don't learn to lament properly, and we don't learn to go and look inside and let it out and grieve and get it out and express it, then we hold it in. We hold it in. And it's not just the hurt, but it's that rebellion also. And a lot of times they come together. And when you become more spiritually healthy and you become more in tune with who you really are, a lot of times it's going to cause some disruption. It's going to cause disruption within your family, within your church, within your group, or whatever it is. And that's our fear. We're so scared of rejection that we're afraid to even be who we really are. We're so afraid of being rejected, of who we really are, that we refuse to be who we really are, who we've been designed to be. We're in denial. And that doesn't often, I don't even know that word. I tried to read this last night and I realized that I don't even know what happened here, but apparently I started writing in a different language or something. So I don't know what this actually says. And I just realized I started trying to read it again. So it says, let me see. We don't know how to authentically express what we really feel and what's really going on inside. I'm going to tell you a story, and you're going to think that it doesn't have anything to do with this, and it doesn't. So there's no trick here, but I want to bring something up. I want your mind. I want to trigger your mind to think just a little bit. Do you realize your body is talking to you? Your body will talk to you all the time. And I'm going to give you an experience that I had. It's not necessarily good. It wasn't legal. This experience that I had, that my body later told me, dude, what is up? I used to ride motorcycles, sport bike, and there was about 10 of us out one day, and I hadn't been riding quite as long as everybody else, but I had been riding, and I've ridden dirt bikes since I was little bitty. I've ridden four-wheelers and dirt bikes and everything, so I had plenty of experience on a bike. But I didn't have quite the experience as everybody else had on street bike, on sport bike. And so we're out riding one day, and we're getting it. We were like north of Denton, and there's this stretch, these real windy roads, and they're open, real open. You can see forever. It's just flat and windy. And we're like just getting it down this road, and I could see there's a curve, this big, long, sharp curve coming up to the right. And I'm thinking, we're going too fast. We're going too fast. Oh my gosh, no one is even going to let up. I'm going to have to take this curve. I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, here we go. And I remember I was about the fourth bike down. There was about 10 of us, so I was about the fourth bike back. And so there's people behind me. So if I screw up, guess what? They're going down with me, you know. So I'm thinking the whole time. And I remember we go into this curve and we go to lean. and this is the farthest I'd ever leaned the bike over, and I was scared to death. And I just remember thinking, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. It's like everything else went away, but that word just stayed there, don't fall. Don't let up, and don't fall, don't fall. And like I just did everything that I knew, that I was taught, and I did everything, and I just focused, and we made it around the corner. And I remember as we're coming up, and we're about to take, then it goes again, and then I remember looking down as we're about to take that next turn, and I just glanced at my speedometer and it had straight ones, 111. We had just taken this turn at about 100 miles an hour. And here we were about to take the next one. And here we are, and I remember thinking, my knee's going to hit the ground. My knee is going to hit the ground. We were leaned over so far, I was scared that my knee was going to hit the ground. And then we come up, and then we get down the road, and we stop, and everybody's like, man, that was awesome, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. Let's go do it again. And so we go back, and we go do it again. But then, a few nights later, I remember I was asleep. And I was dreaming, and here we are again. We're taking this turn. And have you ever done this? I did that, and I thought, oh my gosh, whoa. Well, then it kept happening. Throughout the week, it kept happening. But the thing is as I would fall asleep, we were taking that turn, it wasn't turning out. It wasn't going the way. It was like my body was finally processing all the things that could have went wrong, or maybe should have went wrong, and thankfully it didn't somehow. It was like my body took some time to process, and then it was trying to express, dude, you can't be doing this. How many of you ever had an experience, and then like later on, it's like it keeps like coming up? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, we all have that. We all have that. We're like, and then you like this. It's like a shudder or something in this jump, and like, what was that? You know, and your body. Our bodies are designed to express what is actually inside. But as long as we hold it in, we'll never be what we were designed to be. Until we confess, and until we repent, and until we change some things, we'll never be able to grow spiritually. We'll never be able to take that next step. We'll never be able to grow. We'll never be able to fulfill that calling that we know God is calling us to be. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm running out of time, so we're going to have to do this more next week. We didn't get near as deep as I wanted to go. But do you see what's happening here? Do you see, this? Okay, we just had a storm that rocked our community. And we could put Band-Aids on it. We can just paint it up and make it look a little bit better. And pretend like it didn't happen. Or pretend like everything's okay. Or we bite the bullet, we suck it up, and go in there and start cleaning out the things that are broken, the things that are really messed up, the things that need to go, and start rebuilding. And we all have some destruction inside that we've been holding on to, that we won't let it die. We won't express it. We won't deal with it. We're good at distracting ourselves. How many of you, this is the point. How many of you ever been somewhere? If you don't get anything else, get this. You'll be at dinner and a lull in the conversation. There'll be a lull, there'll be a quiet point in the conversation, and what do we all do? Pull out our phone and we look at Facebook. That's what we all do. It's okay. You don't have to admit it. We already know. Or you'll go to the doctor that you've set an appointment for, and you'll go and they'll be like, okay, the doctor will be with you in a few minutes. And you go and you sit down and you might glance to see what magazines are on the table, but what do we normally do? Pull out the phone. How many of you have when's the last time you've had dinner and not had the TV on? Never. Me and Seth talked about that last night. We're sitting there and I realized there's like a cajillion TVs around us, and I thought, I wonder when the last time anybody's had dinner and not had the TV going. Yeah. And this is something, and Seth, correct me if I say it wrong, because I said it to Seth this morning. He's the only person that's heard it. For the first time in history, there are billions of dollars being spent and tons of effort being spent and put into filling all of those gaps. Connecting us. We think we're more connected than ever, but we may be more connected with everything else that's going on, but for the first time we are less connected with who we are than we've ever been before. We're more connected with Facebook than we are connected with who we are, who is inside us. We're more connected, but we're so much worse because we're losing connection with who we really are. Because you're watching the highlight reel of everybody else, and so you're trying to keep up with everything else that's going on. So we live in this society of endless denial. We deny who we are. We deny who we're designed to be. We're denying the time. See, we're so busy, and I said this yesterday. I think I wrote it down. So we're so busy, and when we come to a gap in between all the busy, we call it boredom. How long do we sit there and we sit, get our phone out? So we distract ourselves with our devices, which then become our vice. It becomes our addiction. It becomes the thing that we hold on to, that we refuse to let go of. And so we never experience the freedom of being still. You realize we're actually designed to express what's in us. And until we get still and get alone and get quiet and take some time, we don't know what's in there. Some of us, it might be scary to find out what's in there. I'm serious. And yesterday, I started dating. This is a disaster. This is ridiculous. And yesterday, I realized that I had some issues inside that I hadn't dealt with yet. I had some unforgiveness that I hadn't dealt with yet. I had some anger that I hadn't dealt with yet. I had some bitterness. I had some crap inside that I hadn't actually let out yet, that I hadn't actually addressed. And I started writing some stuff down, and I'm not going to share it with you because it's from me. And I may be asked to resign if you actually know. But that's what we got to do. We got to get in touch with who is inside, who we've been designed to be. And the thing is, we can't discover who we've been designed to be until we let out all the garbage that's actually inside. And when we get still and we get quiet and we forget all the social media and we forget the internet and we just sit there for just a second, all that stuff will start to come up. But here's the thing, we call it an anxiety and we take a pill for it. Or we have to distract ourselves from actually letting it come up. No, let it come up. Let it happen. Get it out. You may not want to say it out loud in front of people, but go and start writing it. Don't use your phone. If you can keep from it, don't use your phone. A lot of times I don't have a pen and a pad, so I'll do, but guess what? That's just an opportunity to get more distracted. Because as you're writing, someone's going to send you a text. It never fails. Or someone's going to call or something, and then you'll never get back to it. What would happen if we went out to dinner and actually left our phone in the car? It'd be all right. We would all live through dinner. We'd all make it. We'd come out all right. And we might actually have some valuable conversation between the people that are with us. We might actually acknowledge what's really going on in our kids' lives. We might actually give them some attention that they are dying to have. Billions of dollars are being spent for us to be connected. And what we don't realize is we're disconnecting ourselves more and more and more. We could go so much deeper. We'll have to pick up next week because I don't want the kids people mad at me. But here's the thing. Remember we underlined that part in Psalm 32? What did we underline? Until we can become completely honest with ourselves, we'll never be able to be honest with anybody around us. And we'll never be able to be honest with God. It says, what joy for those whose record the Lord has cleared of guilt, whose lives are lived in complete honesty. How much stuff do we have hidden that we carry around bottled up all day? But on down it says, finally I confess all my sins to you. I got rid of everything that's been holding me down. I let go of the hurt and the pain that I've been holding on to from what they said or what they did from when I was a kid. I let go of everything. I found who I was. And then I finally experienced freedom. And I realized yesterday I've been holding on to some stuff, and I keep going through these dating things, and if I get this one more time, I'm not used to being treated nice. What? Since when is it wrong to treat somebody nice? And I got mad at that. I'm sorry, but I got mad. Because I don't think that's the honest truth. Maybe I am doing something else wrong. That's fine. I'm cool. But is it really that odd to get treated nice? Because this is what I thought. When someone starts treating you extra nice, something's up. Something's up. I don't know. But what it did is it allowed me to discover things that were inside of me that I'd actually been holding on to, because I started getting mad. I started getting angry. And I realized that I had rejection that I have dealt with since I was a kid that I was still holding on to. And so the slightest little thing was bringing that anger and that rejected feeling up, and I didn't like it. I dealt with rejection from a small age. And I don't know why. I don't know where exactly it started. But I remember feeling rejected over and over and over and over and over and over as a child. I had great parents. But there was something happening that kept causing me or making me feel rejected. I felt rejected as a child, and then even in school, I remember feeling rejected by my friends. And I remember that it's not now, like, that has grown and grown and grown and grown. Then I got divorced, another rejection. And so I've been holding on to this, and it's been festering and growing, and then I realized if I don't let this go, it's going to kill me. So I started writing, and I don't even know the things that I was writing, and then when I went back and read it, I was like, whoa, dude, what's up? We got to address what's inside. We got to let it out. It's okay to be still. It's okay to be quiet, because guess what? The God of your rescue is also the God of your struggles. And He's here to set us free. If we just let Him, He's here to set us free. So get alone. We can dim the lights and Kitty can keep playing, and just get silent for a second and just let it out. Let it happen. Get it out. Write it down. Address it. Address it. Because until we put a name or till we expose what's really holding us down, we'll never be able to grow. We'll never be able to become what God has designed us to be. And God has designed us to be boundless. Not bound, but boundless.